So having done that, not really achieved what we wanted to, I think what we can do with the time that we have left is we can get a pot, a couple of small oval pots maybe, and make some 3 or 5 jade forests, 3 or 5 jades into each oval pot, and we'll see what they turn out over a period of time. So here we are back with 2 oval pots and a round pot, and they're okay. They're not brilliant pots, but they'll suit for what we're going to do. We'll get a base layer. I've already put some screen into the bottom of these, so we'll just get at least a base layer of soil into each one. Just to cover up that screen. So that covers up the screen, and then we'll bring in some of the jade cuttings. We do have a good selection and number of cuttings. They've all calloused over and dried out in the time that they've been sat, and it will be interesting to see how these grow in their new plantings. So there you go, we have a lot. So sticking with the rules, we need to at least go with 3. We certainly don't want to put 4 into any plantings, but if we can get a 5 in, then that'll be pretty good. So we'll take this cutting first, and it's already got a tiny bit of woody trunk down the bottom. There's a little bit of a effort to try and put some root out already, so that's good. We'll take off at least the bottom 2 sets of leaves, and we'll be able to think about putting that into any one of these pots. So if we start off with that one in there, this one will take these giant leaves off at the bottom. That would probably go to an outside part of the planting. This is very short and squat, so we would look to remove these large leaves at the bottom, maybe even all the way up to the top 2, and that would go to the outside of a planting also. We'll not make any big decisions until we've got our numbers. Now this one's interesting. It comes up, divides there into 2, and then divides again into 2, so that's almost ideal to be a main tree. What we will do is just cut these large leaves at the divisions, leaving a little bit on, and then that will at least be, you know, the main center tree of one of these plantings. Choose another one. Again, some of these are quite short and squat, so they'll be on the outside of plantings, which is ideal, so we can try and get that asymmetrical look. Take all these big bottom leaves off. Just hold one into there for now until we get our numbers. This is quite a big just take the upper 2 off. That could potentially sit into the part. Now this is a nice one. It's short, but it divides into 2 quite early, so that's going to be an ideal starter. Maybe look to have it in this one. Got a tall one that divides into 2 a long way up. Take all these huge leaves off, so that will be a main central trunk. Another large one, got a bit of root coming out of the bottom of there, so that's good. I'll just take out the lower leaves, and that could potentially be into there. So you can see we're kind of formulating them with an asymmetrical style in mind. And then we've got this one, which could nicely fill in the 5th in that pot. And then we've got 2 short ones that divide into 2. We might just put them into Tom's rescue pots. So that would be one in that pot, and they quite suit. You know, the colours suit quite well, so I'm quite happy with that. We'll just take the top 2 big leaves off of there, and then that'll be that one. So I think we're kind of where we want to be. So let's work on the blue one first. We're going to take the taller trunked tree jade and pop that into the middle. I think that is the front, so we'll just try and get a bit of soil in the middle and around that jade so it holds, which it has done. Fantastic. And then I think we need to remove 2 more sets of leaves on the outer tree, and we will allow it just to slightly lean away from the main tree and get some soil around that. Because when I have done similar to this before, I do like it where the trees kind of lean outwards rather than just going straight up in the air. You know, it gives a fanning sort of look to it. And then the final tree, which is bolt upright anyway, it does tend to lean over to one side there, so we'll just look to plant that in at that height and get that in. You don't have to spend too much time on these. You know, the jades are very forgiving. You can take them out, put them back in, take them out and put them back in to any planting that you make. But that doesn't look too bad for a quick chuck together. I don't know whether you can see that against the black background. Let me just position the camera so you can. So it doesn't look too bad. It's a tiny little jade forest, again with a lot of future in front of it and a lot of time. We'll just give it a good misting. And we'll water it through. Some people don't like to water them through because you've cut a lot of the green off and you could introduce rotting. I'm yet to have done that. I do let it callus over mostly, as most people would, but I've been very fortunate and not suffered at the hands of things going wrong with rot to the planting. So yeah, I think that looks quite good. I think, hope you can see it there. I'll just tilt it ever so slightly in front of that main camera, and we'll come back and have a look at them at the end anyway. I think we'll get some These rescue pots are really simple to do, because all we need to do is hold the tree and pour the soil in around it, and that's it. Nice and easy. And then the same again, hold the tree and just shake the soil around the trunk, and it takes its form quite well. We will just lift that ever so slightly because we have got the twin trunk showing on that. Give them both a bit of a water so the soil can soak up the moisture. Right, yes, okay, so our next one, we'll do the round pot. We've not got much choice for what's going to be the front, so I'm just looking around that, and the way that the twin branching out of there goes, I'm going to put that so it comes slightly forward but away. I think we're going to have to fill this up and then create holes for our other trees. So that's going to hold into that position. This will bend over to the left as we're looking at it. So we'll put this trunk into the soil with a slight bend to the left and top up that side of the soil. We'll get our rake and push that in. And then our other little one, the leaves are heading over to that side, so we'll do the same where we send the leaves and the branching over to the other side. So again, we've got that asymmetrical kind of design to the planting, and this will just sit in here and grow and grow and grow and grow. We may do some pruning, but it will be a long time before we do. We'll just give it a bit of a water through to settle in that soil. So that's our round potting, looking really good there. It's got that right sort of style to it. We'll put that back, and then our red pot, we've got our tall tree diving out. We'll take the trees out and put them to one side, or the cuttings out. I keep calling these trees and they're not, are they really? So we've got our first cutting to go in, and that can stand there. We'll start with the left hand side of the planting, slightly going away from the main tree. And then if I can hold that and get our smaller one, I can hold all of those into position, and we need to get the soil to fill in that side. We've then got our next one, which slightly curves to that side, so we'll allow our slight curve to go that way, and then our last one, if I can hold them both, that way, get the soil in. And again, we've got the asymmetrical style. We just need to push the soil around the trees, tamp it down. It doesn't matter if it's raised up a little bit in the middle. That'll help support the tree. A little bit of soil around the back. Bit of a spray. And boy am I in trouble for creating yet more jade plantings and trees. Oh dear, what have I done? So I might be able to get some of these up and into the grow tents upstairs, and they'll do really well in the grow tents. So I'll see if I can make space for that. But let me get tidied up and we'll have one final look at what we've got and what we're working with. Come on Pete, in you come. Be careful of them. Come on. Pete. So first of all, we've got the Crushula tetra that you can see there turning around. It's in its pot, it's got its roots, and it will be ready to put out a lot more. You can see all these aerial roots that it puts out. It's a fantastic amount of aerial roots that come out of those. I'm really interested to see what they do when they hit the soil. We do have a couple really low that will hit the soil and one that already has done, and that's going to help anchor that into the pot so that when we get round to doing any wiring and styling of that tree, you know, it will really work nicely, I hope. Now we have the Crushula tetra group cutting forest, shall we say. It'll be interesting to see whether any of these, all of these, none of these survive, and having them in a pot like that gives it the chance for them to be a bit of a natural kind of forest, I would imagine. You know, until they start growing, we won't really know what we're going to get from that, but it's a nice little pot, very nice little pot, and there's a good number of cuttings in there to grow. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got an even number, but I don't mind that, to be fair. We'll be all right. The first of our little forests there going around looks really nice. I think Pete's just had his nose in the soil where I've got him just sat to one side on the floor here, and Pete is having a good sniff around, making sure that everything's compass mentis. Pete? Pete? Are we all good? Everything in order? Yeah? Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure? Good. Can we just not sniff around the jades for a minute? Yep, look at your beard. So yeah, that's the three forest. That's the triple planting jade in its pot, ready to grow. and hopefully things will go well with that. The next forest we did was in the dark round pot. Again, Pete's had his nose in, making sure that these are planted well enough. So I'll just tamp the soil down around them. And you know, it'll root and it'll hopefully do okay and come out nice. But that's what it looks like. Now we've got the asymmetrical style where it goes up and over, so it should be good, it should be okay. I'll just allow it to come back round to the front here so you can get a full look. Some of these larger leaves we'll probably have to take off at some stage, but they will put a bit of moisture back into the tree. We've then got our planting of 5 jades, again with that asymmetrical design there, so it goes up and over, looking quite nice. It does lean a little bit, but we'll not let that worry us too much. We'll allow it to put some roots down and we can do any work that we want to going forward. But it's in there and it's looking okay. I will just tamp it down from this side just in case Pete's had his nose in this one as well, and that's why it's leaning. But time will tell, they'll grow and we'll see what we get. And then we've got our 2 singular ones which are in the succulent pots that Tom kindly sent through, and they look quite good in there. They'll grow well and they'll get established in those, and then we can move forward with them. So that's going to do it for today and probably this series. I think we'll move on to the pines next. We've got a couple of oval pots left to put the Christmas pine trees in, so that's going to be nice and interesting. So get out there and make the best of the rest of your day. Be kind to each other, animals and the planet, and as always I'll see you again in the next one.